What's up, party people? Hey, hey. My name is Bree. I'm the host of the Brown Girl Self Care Podcast. I have been going live at least once a week here on YouTube, and it is actually starting to feel like home. So let's go ahead and get into this episode, or actually this topic that I've been talking about and thinking about for quite some time, but I've never really brought it to the table. Uh, And that is how I am decentering men and have been decentering men for a very long time, AKA also known as I have been single since August of 2016. And I just can't see myself going back to what I came from. I just don't see it. Now, before I get into this, I will say this is not a man bashing or male bashing conversation. That's literally when I say I am decentering, that's what I mean. Like this is not not even a bashing kind of thing because I don't even really think about men like that anymore. Okay. So yeah, let me I guess give some backstory and then I want to give you three little things that I want you to think about before you enter your next relationship. Or if you're in a relationship right now, just see if any of these three things apply to you, okay? And if they do, I really want you to do some soul searching. I need you to go deep and do some soul searching, all right? So just a really quick backstory, or as quick as I can make it, of how I got to this place where I have been single since 2016, which is damn near 10 years, okay? Um, all right, so we talked about my beginnings. I don't need to go into that other than to say in case you missed it, dealt with molestation as a child, um, just domestic violence in the home and all that. Okay, we talked about that before. Now let's talk about more current stuff. So when it comes to me and men and dating and relationships, I cannot say that I've had many relationships, but none of them really were, I would say, successful. And obviously, it takes two to tango, two to have a relationship, right? So I'm not sitting here from a place on high and saying that I was just the perfect princess and all men are trash and all that jazz. It's not again, this is not a bashing kind of conversation, but I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that I was perfect and all that. No, it takes two to be in a relationship and I was not perfect. But I did notice that there were some recurring things that kept coming up. And by the time I got out of my last relationship in August of 2016, which took the MF and cake, okay, this last relationship that I was in, I think that's when I officially was like, I'm tapping out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore because it's just not. I'd rather focus on me. And however long I want to focus on me, that's how long I will choose to do so. I have never been married. And I know that's a shocker because, as we know, in this society where I am really stepping into saying F these systems, EFF, you know what that stands for, F these systems, we know that a woman who has never been married, heaven forbid, somebody bring me a box of cats. I'm a woman in my 50s, never been married. I've been engaged twice. And thank God that both of those I pieced out. Thank God. Thank God. But yeah, someone bring me a box of cats because clearly now that I'm in my 50s, I am a cat. I should be a cat lady and have no life and whatever other stereotypes, whatever are out there about women that have never been married. I'm damaged goods. I'm whatever, people would think about someone in my position. Sure, I'll be all those things, I guess. Not. So I started my dating back when I was in probably like high school. I never was really allowed to have a boyfriend, number one. Let me make that very clear. I was never allowed to have a boyfriend, especially when I was in like high school. So I would have to like sneak around just to have a little boyfriend and that kind of stuff. And so then when I got into my 20s, first of all, I was a virgin. Yeah, we're going there. We're going there. This is a Real raw conversation. I was a virgin until I think I lost my virginity probably like maybe 21, which is pretty old, I guess, compared to others, especially people in my school and stuff. They were all already having sex and they were the cool kids and all that stuff. I was never a cool kid. Never. So I thought for the longest time that really, I'm not even ashamed to say this. This was my truth. Part of the reason why I even had sex when I was 21 is because I was like, damn, what's wrong with you? Why you ain't never had sex yet? Everybody else has had sex. You're taking way too long. You just need to go ahead and have sex. That was probably like the 50% of the reason why I had sex. The other 50% was I was genuinely attracted to the to the man that I was dating at that time at 21. But the other half was just like, damn, how long is it gonna take, sis? Like just putting this pressure on myself that really came from a place of me being insecure in myself and feeling like I got to do certain things so that I would be acceptable, so that I would be cool, so that I would be not seen as a weirdo. Like, what 21-year-old do you know in the real world that had never had sex yet? You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't like the vibe. That wasn't the vibe back then. So, yeah, I had sex. Um, and then in that relationship, fast forward, the reason why we didn't work out is because he just did not treat me well. And we don't have all day to go into like the what he did and all that, but he did not treat me well. But he was one of the people that proposed to me. Probably when I was around 21, 22. He proposed to me. We were in Vegas. This was just like I could tell he was really in love, right? Because there was like there was no planning, no forethought. It was just like, oh, I feel like now that I'm thinking about it, it was just like, oh, I'm dating Bree. Bree's here. She's a woman. I want a woman to take care of me because at the time I was like driving him. He didn't have a car. I'm driving him to work. I'm picking him up from work, like doing all this wife shit. Okay. And I just feel like I was like a placeholder, like, oh, she's good enough, I guess. Let me go ahead and see. We're in Vegas. Let's just get married. And I was just like, hell no. Thank God, dodged a bullet with him because now, the last time I looked in to see what was going on with him, he's been in and out of like uh, um, jail, and he's got some mental health stuff going on. He's been homeless and some other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, bullet dodged. And one thing I did notice about him, and this seems to be kind of like a recurring theme, and I'm not saying this is all men, I'm just sharing with you my circumstances. This guy was like a sex addict. It seemed like he was like a sex addict. Okay. So keep that in mind because the patterns have been patterning in my relationship. Yes, I said that. The patterns, the patterns have been patterning. So ended it with him finally. Then when I was around 20, so we dated for probably until I was maybe like 22, 23, somewhere in there. Then fast forward, I meet my daughter's dad, my daughter's father. And around this time, I'm probably like 25, 26. And I'm still in this insecure place where I'm still seeing my body as this thing for, how can I explain it? I was seeing my body as just something that was amongst other things, but it included being, I feel like my body, it was made for consumption because I wanted men to like me. I didn't realize at the time, like in my 20s, I mean, still now, I'm still a dime now, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, like I didn't realize like how precious I was. I didn't realize how beautiful I was. I didn't realize how amazing I was. Like it's so, when you're in it and you're unhealed, it's so hard, at least for me, it was so hard for me to really realize just how dynamic and amazing I was because I didn't feel that way. So in my mind, since I really just felt so low about myself, I just felt like my body was just made, I was put here for consumption. And I had to get a man, please a man so I could be normal. And once I had a man, then I will be worthy. I will be worth something. I would be admired and beautiful, and people would like me because, oh, she's not so weird. Look, she's got a man. She's not weird. You know, that kind of vibe, right? And so fast forward again to meeting my daughter's dad. Now, ain't no shame in my game. I'm gonna keep it straight with you, all right? Because I did not make the best choices, clearly, as we are talking about here. My daughter's dad already had like 3 kids, all right, by 3 different women. Yes, I know. Judge your mama. I was 25 when I met him. We worked together, and this guy I wasn't even really in a relationship with, again, because in my mind it was like my body, I need to allow my body to be consumed so that I can be a normal person, so I can be liked and loved and all that jazz. So that was still my mindset. Very low feelings about myself, very insecure. Excuse me. And so obviously we ended up having sex. We were friends with benefits, okay? Basically. And again, this was someone who w- how can I say this? He basically was using me for sex. But I was a willing, I'm saying that as in I was a willing partner, but it was basically I was just I was just it was just sex, you know? And so I ended up getting pregnant, had my daughter at the age of 27, got out of that relationship, which was a mess, or friends with benefit situation, which was a mess. And then I'm sure I had other relationships in there, but then my final relationship was when I was probably around, maybe my late 30s. I don't, I have gaps in my memory, so I'm just gonna say my late 30s. And this guy, this was the guy, this was like the final boss in the video game, the one where you're just like, what the hell? I don't even know what to do. Again, the patterns be patterns, patterning. This was another situation where me looking back, it was very clear that it was just about sex. And this guy was also a sex addict. This guy was also a sex addict. And on top of that, he was like, actually, all 3 of them were probably like weed smokers and stuff. Like, just, I'm not, how can I say this? Again, I'm not saying this like I'm sitting on a place on high, but these men, pretty much every man that I've dated has not been on my level. Again, hear my heart when I say that. I'm not saying that I was better than them or that I was smarter than them or above them, but we were in different places. We were in different places. They were not on my level. I just didn't really want to acknowledge or realize that at the time, because I just wanted to be uh I wanted to feel wanted. I wanted to feel womanly. I wanted to feel cool and not weird and, not a nerd, not a square. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to fit in. That was basically it. I wanted to fit in. And so what's one way you fit in? Sex, right? So this last guy, like I said, he was like the final boss. That relationship ended in 2016, August of 2016. But the ending of that relationship was the point where I was like, as much as I would love to be married, and I still think that it may happen for me one day, possibly, I'm not hanging my life on that possibility. I'm not actively looking for relationships, because history has shown me, even just when I was out there dating, like, back in the day, I'm in my 50s, so I don't really know like what the dating apps are now. I'm not sure if Tinder is still a thing. I really don't know, because I've never used it. But I've heard Tinder before, or you swipe right or whatever. But back in the day, for me, the dating website was like Plenty of Fish and um, I don't know, other places like that. But Plenty of Fish really stands out. Even when I was on like those kind of sites or meeting men, whatever, it was very clear, like, one of two things. It was always like, let me see what you look like. And when you show the picture, you were either not good enough for these men, or it was very clear that it was just I just want to hook up, I just want to use your body, I just want to have sex, that kind of thing. I would get hit with that over and over and over again, and I know that my situation is not unique. It's not possible. And I'm not saying that men don't deal with this, but we all know statistically, it's usually the women that are being, they want to use our bodies up, use up our essence, waste our damn time, okay? And then they want all these things, and you basically are left with a wet puss, excuse my French, and nothing in return. All right. And I just kept going through that over and over and over again. Either the rejection of I wasn't pretty enough, or I was too dark, or too this, or too that, hair too nappy, da da da. Or it was just like, yeah, you're good enough. Let's hook up. And I didn't want to do that. Right. So this last relationship, the guy, weed smoker, heavy drinker, likely an alcoholic, sex addict. He this was probably the most abusive relationship I've ever been in my life. And we don't have all day to sit here and tell you all the things. Let's call him John. All the things that John did during this relationship that we had, to the point where it just kept escalating. Things just kept escalating to the point that I was fearful. But I was afraid to get out of the relationship because his personality was very aggressive and just aggressive and crazy. Aggressive and crazy. Like I didn't know what he was going to do, though I would come to find out based on just how he spoke. And then when we broke up, his emails that he would continue to send me and stuff like that. I caught wind of what he could possibly do. And so I had to really delicately extract myself out of that relationship, because it got scary towards the end. And this was after he had done some crazy things. Like, for example, you're probably thinking, well, how crazy could it have been? Again, we ain't got all day, but I'll tell you one thing that he did where I was just like, and he was someone that proposed to me, by the way, bought me this little engagement ring that I still have. And thankfully, I walked away from that, because I don't even know if I would even be here today. And I'm not even saying that to exaggerate. I'm being for real serious. But one of the things that he did, of many things that he did, was he would take pictures of women's crotches. I went through his phone one time, and this was towards the end where I knew I got to get the fuck out of here. Can we cuss on YouTube? I'm doing it. I don't know. This is how I talk. But I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I went through his phone. Like women, we have intuition for a reason. Okay. Even if your intuition, if you have a thought in your mind and it doesn't end up panning out, I don't want you to ignore your intuition. We have it for a reason. We really, really do. And things just kept happening and telling me, showing me like, this is not for you. 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 And I'm saying that over and over again because things kept happening, and it would just be like another confirmation after another confirmation after another confirmation. This is not for you. This is not for you. Hello, are you paying attention? This is not for you. All right. So women's intuition had been kicking in for a while, but I decided one day to go through his phone, and this MFer, like when I tell you that he was taking pictures of women's crotches, I'm serious. Like, it would just be random women. He's somehow, like, here's my phone. I'm imagining this is how he's doing it. Like, he might be, let's say his phone is turned this way, and you might think that like, oh, they're just walking past me, but he's reading his phone, but he's literally taking pictures of your crotch as you walk by, from the front, from the back. He took a picture of my mom's crotch. I found a picture of my mom's crotch, and this was on a day that they had gone furniture shopping, or something. I don't know how they ended up in a furniture store together. I really don't even remember, to be quite honest with you, but somehow they had met up in a furniture store or something. And when I went through his phone, there was no faces, by the way. There were no faces, but I knew my mama's body. I knew the kind of pants she wore. And, if you've seen your body on somebody's phone or someone that like, oh, that looks like so and so. Didn't see her face, but I knew it was her. So he had a picture like of her, obviously not naked, but clothed crotch. So she probably was talking to him or had turned to the side and he shot a picture of her crotch. Well, we worked together. As I was going through his phone, I saw he had done this to me at lunchtime. I was sitting across from him at a lunch table, and I'm just like talking. He's probably just like, oh yeah, and he's on his phone. Or da, da, da. He had put his phone under the table and snapped a picture of my crotch. He snapped pictures of employees, women employees, their crotches. Okay. So that was something that he did. He cheated on me. He violated me in some ways that I don't really want to talk about right now, but they were sexually. So it just kept escalating. It just kept escalating. So finally I was able to get him out of my home and extract myself for my safety. And I'm so thankful. So that was the last relationship that I had, and that was in 20 August of 2016 when that finally ended. And he still, it's probably been a year since I've heard from him again. That was 2016. Even though I've told him, if you keep emailing me, I'm going to get a restraining order against you. That didn't matter. Me ignoring his messages, that didn't matter. Um, that kind of thing. But I think it has been about 9 months to a year since I've heard from him again, from 2016. Okay. From 2016. So over 7, 8 years, he was still sending me these long emails professing his love. And I'm so sorry. And you said you wanted to go to church. I'm ready to go to church now. And, yada, 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 yada. No. So all that to say, I have been decentering men since that last relationship. And I'm so thankful that now I finally am in this place where I don't sacrifice myself. I don't martyr myself for men. I don't do things for the attention of men. They are not they are not at the forefront of my mind. They are not what I base my decisions on. Like, they are not even, I don't even think about them. And it's sad, or not sad, but even still, I still like still just encountering men out in the wild now that time has passed, and thinking, oh, surely things have changed now, but still you get the men that leer at you. Or just when I first moved out here to Arkansas, so this was probably around March or April of this year, somewhere in there. This black guy, I was at Walmart with a girlfriend, and this black guy, probably maybe like 5, 10 years younger than me, and I realized that I look younger, I guess. So he probably thought I was maybe in my 40s or 30s. I really don't know. Um, but me and her are talking, and he just starts walking towards us, and he's like staring at me, and I'm trying to like ignore it. And so he literally comes over and he's just like trying to talk to me, but the way he's doing it is so creepy and weird. And I don't know, just again, like I said at the top of this, or maybe I didn't say it, but I will say it now. I'm not saying that this is all men at all whatsoever, but because it happens so much and because it happens often, you just have to be talking about men. You know what I'm saying? Because it just happens over and over and over again. I don't feel like men in general care about the safety and comfort of women, especially Black women. We know that. But I don't feel like men, generally speaking, care about the care and safety and comfort of women. And we know this to be true because obviously women are violated every single day. They're assaulted every single day. They're just harmed or even killed every single day. And usually it's by what? A man, right? But yeah, I can see that things have not changed. So my decision to stop centering my life around men, it there were definitely some hard lessons in there. Excuse me, there were definitely some hard lessons in there over the last, what, 2 decades. But finally, after that last relationship and that, I was just like, I'm out. Like I cannot, I can't do this anymore because these relationships are not healthy for me. And again, these patterns that keep coming up, they're, to me, they were coming up for a reason. And I feel like a lot of it had to do with, yes, I wasn't in control of what the men did. I'm not saying that, but I feel like me just even saying, yes, this is okay for me. Yeah, I'm okay with this. You know what I'm saying? That was something within me that needed to be healed to continue just even putting up with that shit, you know? So I have three things here that I want you to think about. I'm just going to my phone to my notes really quickly and see if this resonates with you, because if any one of these three, and these are not the only three things, but if any of these three things resonate with you, where you're like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna need you to hold on, y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to take a step back and really think about the relationship that you're in, if you're in one now, or think about, like, am I ready for my next relationship? Or is there some time that I need to take for myself and really just center myself, support myself, love myself, secure myself, make sure that I am good, that kind of vibe, right? So the first thing that I would say, is, just because he has a penis, it does not mean that he knows everything or that he can be everything to you, thus fixing you. We have it in our heads, just in society in general, that men are above us, men are smarter than us, men have all the solutions, men have all the answers, men are the end all be all. If I have a man, my life is good. If I have a man that's going to fix me, if I have a man, now I'm worthy of love. If I have a man, now my life is going to be this magical fairy tale. And just, it's not true. Just because they have a penis, a penis does not grant you, you know what I'm saying? Like, that really means nothing. It really means nothing. But sometimes we get into these situations thinking like, oh, if I can only get a man, or now that I have a man, now I'm gonna get all this love, or now I'm worthy of love, or now my life is gonna be great, or now I'm finally gonna be happy, um, or whatever the case may be. I'm sorry to tell you, but if that's something that you are thinking, or you believe that now that you're with this man or with this guy that your life is going to magically change, sis, that's just that they're that is not true. That's not true. You have everything inside of you right now that you need to thrive and live well, whether you have a partner or you don't. And honestly, me thinking like that was one of my downfalls. And it's sad because if you think about it, when we get into these relationships, at least speaking for myself, when I got into those relationships, I'm thinking that, okay, now I've got a man, life is going to be good. Let me take care of him. Let me cater to him. Let me da 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 da. And it's crazy because we do all these things for men, okay, whether they're good, bad, indifferent. We do all these things for men when a lot of times we're pouring all this energy into them, all our time into them. Sometimes we're barely getting anything in return, okay? Really nothing substantial in return. And then when it's all said and done, who lives longer? Women live longer. So you have poured all your time and energy into this person who sometimes doesn't even deserve it, and then they end up dying, and now you're still left alone. Okay, now you're still left alone. All right, so at some point, either now or in the future, okay, you are still going to have to take time to prioritize yourself. Okay, because there is going to be a point in your life where you are without a man. That's just logic. You know what I'm saying? So again, just because they have a penis, that doesn't mean that they're going to magically fix your life. Only you can change your life. You are in control of your happiness. You are in control of how you feel about yourself. You are in control of, living the type of life that you want. And having a man or not having a man, that shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shouldn't change how you live your life or how you feel about yourself and how you prioritize yourself. Okay. The second thing that I would say is, now, not all of us have daddy issues, all right? I know that I did, but not all of us have daddy issues. But if you do, um, please take time to embrace healing your wounds, healing yourself. Because, kind of going back to point one, if you're entering into a relationship or any situation, but if you're entering into a relationship, a romantic relationship with someone, and you have wounds, and you are raw, and you've been like gaslighting yourself or bypassing your feelings or what you've gone through, like kind of like sweeping that stuff under the spiritual rug, or just not really taking time to process how things may have affected you, right? You're going to get into that relationship, and you're going to be possibly like prime you're possibly opening yourself up to further harm. You're possibly going to be opening yourself up to further harm. Um, I think it's best to enter relationships when you are not perfect, because no one's perfect, but I think it's best to enter relationships where you have taken some time to take care of yourself, love yourself. If you needed therapy, seek therapy. Everyone needs to go to therapy at least a few times in their life, even if your life was magical. But just taking time to tend to you, tend to your garden, tend to your bloom, prioritize yourself before you get into this relationship, especially if you have just gone through some things. And a lot of us have gone through some things. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that should be a priority over prioritizing someone else. All right. So if you have daddy issues, definitely take a beat and make sure that this relationship that you're in or you're about to get into really feeds your spirit, nurtures you, supports you the way that you deserve, versus you just sacrificing yourself and trying to be all these magical things to this person who probably sometimes doesn't even deserve you. All right, real talk. And then the third thing that I was going to say is that if you've never had time in your life to be selfish, like, now is the time, especially if you're not in a relationship. I was talking to a girlfriend on the phone, and unfortunately her story is similar to mine, but she actually right now is ending or she's in the middle of ending a relationship. There was domestic violence situation that had been happening for the last few years, and it's just a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and it's not my story to tell, so I'll leave it there. But we were talking on the phone yesterday, and she said something like how she's so glad that this relationship is over, because and she doesn't know when or if she will even be in another relationship while she's in her 50s, because now she can do whatever the hell she wants to do. And I'm like, amen to that, right? If you've never had an opportunity to just do whatever the hell it is that you want to do, let's say, for example, you grew up in a similar type of household or situation like I did, and so you finally leave home after dealing with that kind of circumstance, and then you're 17, you're 18, you're 19, you're 20, and you jump into a relationship. You didn't have that window of time to be selfish. And I'm saying selfish in a great way, selfish in a good way, doing whatever the hell it is you want to do. Literally, you don't feel like cooking tonight? Great. Eat a bowl of cereal. You don't want to go see that movie that he always wanted to see? Great. Go see the other one. You don't want to go on vacation there? Great. Go wherever you want to go. Like, I'm just saying, like, this is like a window of time for you to live your life, whether you're in between relationships or you're like, you know what, I am going to just take an extensive amount of time and just decenter men and not even worry about them indefinitely. Like, this is not a sad time. I used to think that it was. I used to think that that time, those windows, those pockets between my relationships were bad. Um, like I needed to just jump into something really quickly because again, I told you that I felt like there was something wrong with me when I wasn't in a relationship or if I wasn't having sex or that kind of thing. But looking back, as hard as those pockets may have been because I was processing stuff and all that jazz, those were still like pockets of peace for me. I just didn't know it then. I didn't know that those were pockets of peace, pockets of healing, pockets of prioritizing breathe, pockets of selfishness, which again, not a bad word in my book, but pockets of selfishness and me doing me and me learning me and me supporting me, right? That's what those pockets were for me. I just didn't know it at the time because in my mind, I was just like, oh, I got to get into my next relationship. Oh, I got to get in my next relationship. So again, now that I have been single and sexless since 2016, yes, girl, I said it, single and sexless since 2016. Um, and I wish people would talk about that more because there is shame. Just like there's shame in virginity, and there shouldn't be, at least in my opinion. There shouldn't be shame in anyone, woman, man, whatever, uh, being celibate, being celibate, and not rushing out to you know have relations, have sex. Like that's just not top of mind for me. If that makes me weird, I'll accept that because now I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, weird is no longer a bad thing to me. Weird and different and quirky and awkward, like I've had to do some healing around that, but that's no longer like a bad thing to me. So, yes, I have been celibate since that last relationship because that last, like, when I tell y'all that that last relationship was a doozy, I literally only gave you like 1%, the smallest sliver of a peek into the craziness that went into that relationship. And actually, I'll just share one more thing just so you again know that this is crazy. His no, actually, I'm not even gonna do it. We ain't got all day. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. I would not wish those kind of struggle love relationships on my worst. I don't have any enemies, but if I did, my worst enemy, I wouldn't wish those kind of relationships on. I am not here for the struggle. I am not here for struggle love. I am not here for uh the stuff, the patterns in my relationship, tit for tat. The last guy literally told me that I forget what it was that I wouldn't do. I honestly don't recall, but it was something that he wanted and I didn't want to do it, or I didn't feel like doing it. And he turned to me and he was like something about how him being in a relationship with me was of no benefit. He told me that I was not a benefit to him. Could you imagine telling someone that you love, supposedly love, that they are not a benefit to you? Um, yeah, that happened. He literally turned to me and was like, "Then what's the point? You're of no benefit to me." That's the kind of relationship that I was in, with a side of other stuff that I don't want to talk about right now because we'd be here all day. But yeah, I'm not here for struggle love. I'm not here for Black women having to or being in situations where they feel like it's either this kind of love, this kind of struggle, or I can't have anything at all. And I don't feel like I'm worth more. I don't feel like I'm destined for more. I don't feel like I can have better. I don't believe that I can do better. All of that is a damn lie. Okay. All of that is a lie. It really, really is. Keep in mind that we are living in a system or society where men are put on this pedestal and women have to or feel like we must fit into these boxes to be beautiful, to be desirable, to be feminine, to be worthy of the male gaze. And I am so far at this point, I'm just so far removed from that. It's just not even funny. It's just not even funny. Again, not to say I will never get married. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what the future holds, but I am not and have not been. They're not even on my they're not even on my radar. They're not even on my radar. They're just not. I don't know. I'm not saying live your life like I'm living my life. I'm not saying this is the right way, but I'm just standing in this truth because I don't think I've talked about this before. If I have, it's been a long time. But this is my truth. I'm not here for struggle love. If it's got to have struggle, I don't want it. Been there, done that, wrote the book, got the t shirt. I'm over it. And, these days, I'd rather take my time and my energy and tap into learning about just getting my wealth together, getting my wellness together, and getting my work together. And by work, I mean the stuff that I do: Brown Girl Self Care, going onto the land in Arkansas, clearing the land so like we can build this community that we're trying to build, like doing good work. That's what I mean by work. I just want to focus on those three things: the work, the wealth, and the wellness. That's it. So that's my story. So if you've been here watching, or you get to the end of this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think about today's topic. I'm just going to come on live because I'm becoming more familiar with it and more comfortable with it. So as something kind of like pops up in my day to day, I'm just going to start pressing record, and that's what you'll get, because I know, or I feel like now I can do a better job of kind of like inviting you in to my life, which I couldn't really do that with the podcast because it wasn't video, it was audio. And if you're not familiar, it's the Brown Girl Self Care Podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Over 7 million downloads, by the way. Thank you very much for those of you that have listened and been a part of this community. I appreciate you. But now I want to figure out ways to bring you more into my life, like via video. So I don't always plan to be here on the couch, or this is where I sleep. I don't always plan to be here on the futon in the living room. This is again where I sleep. But because I'm starting my life over from scratch, and it may take a couple of years, 2-3 years to kind of get back to the type of living that I want, I figure why not just take it from the podcast and just let people in so they can see kind of like how you are prioritizing yourself. So, that's what I'm trying to do. So if you want more videos like this, want more real conversations like this that do tend to get a little cussy, let us sister know in the comments. All right. All right. So that is it. I literally have nothing else to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sure I'll be back in the coming days with more self-care conversation. Have an amazing Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it is today. Bye.